Hi, happy St. George's Day. St. George's Day is not that big a deal in the UK anymore, but it's much bigger in Catalonia, where it has been known as the Catalan Valentine's Day. And the tradition is that men give women a red rose and that in return, the women give the men a book. So in Barcelona on St. George's Day, the houses are decked with red roses and the streets are filled, especially in the Ramblas, with bookstalls and rose stalls. I think giving books and roses is a lovely thing to do, a gift of love. And of course, this year, because of lockdown, it isn't going to happen. So in response, I've been asked to read something by a Catalan author. I've chosen Carlos Ruiz Zafón and The Shadow of the Wind. And it's all about books. It's all about how a young boy, Daniel, is introduced by his father to a magical and special place. Night watchmen still lingered in the misty streets when we stepped out of the front door. The lamps along the Ramblas marked out an avenue in the early morning haze as the city awoke like a watercolour coming to life. When we reached Calle Arco del Teatro, we continued through its arch towards the Raval district, entering a vault of blue haze. I followed my father through that narrow lane, more of a scar than a street, until the glimmer of the Ramblas faded behind us. At last my father stopped in front of a large door of carved wood, blackened by time and humidity. Before us loomed what, to my eyes, seemed the carcass of a palace, a place of echoes and shadows. Daniel, you mustn't tell anyone what you're about to see, not even Thomas. No one. A smallish man opened the door. "Good morning, Isaac. This is my son, Daniel," my father said. It's time he knew about this place. The man called Isaac nodded and invited us in. We followed our host through a palatial corridor and arrived at a sprawling round hall where a spiralling basilica of shadows was pierced by shafts of light from a high glass dome above us. A labyrinth of passageways and crammed bookshelves rose from base to pinnacle like a beehive, woven with tunnels, steps, platforms and bridges that presaged an immense library of seemingly impossible proportions. I looked at my father stunned. He smiled at me and winked. "Welcome to the cemetery of forgotten books, Daniel." My father knelt next to me, and with his eyes fixed on mine, addressed me in the hushed voice he reserved for promises and secrets. "This is a place of mystery, Daniel, a sanctuary. Every book, every volume you see here has a soul, the soul of the person who wrote it and those who read it and lived and dreamed with it. Every time a book changes hands, every time someone runs his eyes down the page, its spirit grows and strengthens. This place was already ancient when my father brought me here for the first time. Nobody knows for certain how long it has existed or who created it. When a library disappears or a bookshop closes down, when a book is consigned to oblivion, those of us who know this place, its guardians, make sure that it gets here. In this place, books no longer remembered by anyone, books that are lost in time, live forever, waiting for the day when they will reach a new reader's hands. In the shop we buy and sell them, but in truth, books have no owner. Every book you see here has been somebody's best friend. Now they only have us, Daniel. Do you think you're able to keep the secret?" My gaze was lost in the immensity of the place and its sorcery of light. I nodded, and my father smiled. So that's the book part of St. George's Day taken care of. As for the romantic part, well, today is also Shakespeare's birthday, 23rd of April, 1564, and also the day he died in 1616. And he wrote many great romantic sonnets, of course, and number 27 is my favourite, and I'm going to say it for you. When in disgrace with fortune in men's eyes, I all alone beweep my outcast state, untroubled deaf heaven with my bootless cries, and look upon myself and curse my fate, wishing me like to one more rich in hope, featured like him with friends possessed, desiring this man's art and that man's scope, with what I most enjoy contented least. Then, in these thoughts myself almost despising, haply I think on thee, and then my state, like to the lark at break of day arising from sullen earth, sings hymns at heaven's gate. For thy sweet love remembered such wealth brings, that then I scorn to change my state with kings. Happy St. George's Day.